friends, welcome to this programming unit. Today we will see a new playlist based on the problem solving questions on Hackerrank. We will see the simple array sum first. First of all, we will solve the easy questions, then medium and then hard level questions. We will go step by step and then we will increase our ratings and stars on this Hackerrank. So let's start. Simple array sum. In this problem statement, we are given an array of integers. Find the sum of these elements. We have to just find the sum of these array elements. So input will be n, that is number of elements in that array. Then the n space separated integers, that is the elements of that array. So we have to just find the sum of this array. Mostly we use C language for solving the questions on Hackerrank. We can also use C++14 or Python as you wish. We will solve it in C. First we will include standard io.h. Then we will try the main function. It will be void main or int main. Doesn't matter in C. So first of all, the size of array n, and then an integer array. We will declare an array of size. In each size you can take. The maximum constraints are 1000, so the array may be of size 1000. So we can take 1000 or more than 1000, doesn't matter. We also take an integer I to trace the array. Then we will use a loop for I initialize with 0. Then I should be less than the size of the array and then increment it. %d address of a of I, and also we have to take the input here. We have to take the input scanner %d address of n. It will store the value of n, that is the size of array. Then each array element will be stored by this scanner %d address of I. Then just we have to sum it. So we will declare a sum as initial value 0. Then we'll trace the loop. I is less than n, I plus plus. Then we will increment the sum value a of I. Then we will just print it. Printf %d the sum value. As the returning type is integer, so we will use return 0. So yeah, it should work. Let's try to run this. Yes, our test cases are correct. Initial test cases are correct. Submit code. Yes, awesome. We can also solve this question in C++. It will be more easier to solve this question. In C++, we have to include this file, include bits /std++.h, which will include all the other libraries. So just we'll write int main. First, we will declare an integer to store the value of the size of array. Then integer I, yeah, and then we will use, if you know the syntax of C++, we use cin to store any number n. Then we will not use a loop here to store number n. Yeah, we have to use a loop to store the array elements I plus plus. We use a of I, yes, Then instead of using a loop to find the summation, we will use a library function accumulate. Accumulate a, the initial address of that array, and then a plus n, and should be initialize the value with 0, and we will store it to something integer as sum. Okay. And then we will just print the sum. Yeah, returning 0. Let's try to run this. Oh, sorry, we have to declare an array here. Integer array. 1000. Yes. One more error. Oh, just you are not declared. Oh, semicolon. So, yeah, it's working. This is somewhat difference between C and C++. Here we don't have to use the loop to calculate the sum. We can directly use this function, inbuilt function accumulate, which will takes the argument as a comma a plus n, that is the initial or the starting address of that array and the ending address of that array, and the value from which we should start the sum. So yeah, in next video we will see more questions on problem solving.